The Clinton-Macomb Public Library is one of the gems of the community, but within that gem, there's another hidden gem that many people don't know about. And today we're going to learn about the Macomb Library for the Blind and Physically Handicapped at the Clinton-Macomb Public Library. Back in 2012, the county approached us about taking over the service from the county so that we could house the library for the blind within a public library. So while the Clinton-Macomb Public Library serves the residents of Clinton Township and Macomb Township, we provide the library for the blind and physically handicapped to everyone in the county. The goal is to ensure that everyone can continue to enjoy reading throughout their entire lifetime, and the motto of the service is that all may read. Losing our vision is something that nobody wants, but unfortunately occurs to people, especially as they grow older, so this library service is free of charge and lets people keep their independence to be able to read and enjoy literature and more throughout their lifetime. So today we're going to take an in-depth look at some of the classes that we offer, how people become eligible and can sign up for the service, and a lot more. So our long-term patrons of the Library of the Blind probably recognize Ann Mandel, who came here with the library when it moved from Hall Road to our location. And Ann, can you tell us a little bit about how people become eligible or what's required to be able to use the Library for the Blind?
Sure. In order for people to qualify for our services, we basically say we are open to anyone who is a resident of Macomb County who cannot read standard print. And by that we mean usually it's a visual disability. For example, if someone has to have glasses in order to read large print, all the way through someone who is totally blind. Or perhaps it's a physical disability, which does not allow a person to hold a book. So for example, if someone has severe arthritis, MS, Parkinson's, even if they temporarily break an arm, they can temporarily be on our service because that's another avenue of not being able to hold a book. And finally, anyone who has a reading disability, for example, someone who has dyslexia. So those are basically who can qualify for our service.
And if they aren't sure, they can always call and ask you, because really that's a lot broader of an audience than many people probably traditionally think of when they hear it's just the library for the blind.
Yes, absolutely.
So another one of our team members here at the Library for the Blind is Barbara Shipman. She is a librarian, and how long have you been with us?
It'll be a little bit over 2 years now.
Wow, time flies. So, Barbara, tell us a little bit about the process. How does that work?
Okay, so what patrons, potential patrons can do is pick up an application, and it is available at your local public library, or you can give us a call and we can send one to your home. So this is an example of an application that we require our patrons to fill out. The front page, we ask for your contact information, such as your name and your phone number. And the back of the front page is where we have a list of disabilities. So you just select the one that fits you. And then below the back of the second page is a place where you will have a certified authority, fill it out and sign it. And a certified authority could be a doctor of medicine, ophthalmologist, registered nurse, or a social worker, for example. And then the next page is where you select what type of materials you like to receive from us, whether it be magazines, books, or DVDs. And then the next question is what kind of format you would like to receive those materials in, such as audio, large print, and Braille books. And the remaining pages include a list of authors as well as subjects. So we would like you to choose the authors that you enjoy reading, as well as subjects that you also enjoy reading. So this will allow us to build a reader profile in our system. So we will make sure that you receive the books that you enjoy listening to. And then once you completed the application, you just simply flip the back page, fold it in half. So make sure that our address appears in the center of the page. And then you just pop it in the mail. Postage is not necessary because postage is paid for. It is a free matter for the blind and physically handicapped. Pop it in the mailbox. The postal carrier will deliver it to our office, and from there we'll go ahead and process your application.
So again, you can start out with what you think interests you and adjust it, I assume, along the way. If
That's
you get
right.
too many materials,
That's
or
right.
you're sort of thinking, I have read everything possible in this subject area, what else should I read? I mean, it's good old-fashioned librarian service,
It
right?
sure is, and 99.9% of our interaction is done over the phone, so we do let our patrons know that the authors and subjects that you selected could change any time, and when that happens, give us a call and we can definitely adjust your reading profile, so we'll make sure that we send out books by the new authors that you like us to send to you.
And
correct.
even you can have the librarian send you something that maybe you didn't even know that you might like.
Correct.
So they can guess, and our system also is kind of working that way too, I assume.
It is, yes. It's a very smart system that we work with. And so it does send you books similar to the authors that you have listed on your application, as well as authors who write books about the subjects that you selected as well.
And if I remember, there's a couple different ways people can have things sent to them. So you can say, send me 3 items every month, or don't send me anything more until I return
Correct.
my cartridge. Kind of
Correct.
like Book of the Month Club,
Yes.
except you don't get a bill.
Right, right, yes. So we do have 2 different send services. One is on demand, like Larry mentioned, and that is we don't send you anything until we hear from you. And the other one is send return, that we send, you pick the maximum, like if you want to receive 10 books at one time, we make sure that you have 10 books at one time, and we could always adjust that as well. We could lower that number if 10 is too much, or even increase that number if 10 books is not enough.
And so again, with the wait until you return it, that means you can take as much or as little time. So if you are reading and a binge read through
Right.
a bunch of books, and
Right.
you need another one in 2 weeks rather
Right.
than a month,
Right,
great.
correct.
And
correct.
sometimes those books are just really long, or it's
Yes.
just not something you're into.
Right.
You need a little extra time.
That's right. Yep, and give us a call when that happens, and we'll make sure we extend the loan period of that. And there is no overdue fines as well, so that's another perk for using our service.
This is kind of like the ideal library setup, isn't it?
It
Free of
is.
charge, no overdue fees, keep it as long as you need, and
Right.
but that's what we're here for.
That's right. We are.
So in terms of services, Ann, I'm sure that some people can think back years and years ago when it was basically vinyl records that were mailed to people. What does a modern library for the blind offer?
Yes, that's right. It's amazing to think about it. It was vinyl records, and then it went to reel to tapes and cassette, 4-track cassettes. Now it's something that's called a digital talking book. Basically, it's going to be one cartridge that houses one book. We provide a player for that, for our audiobooks that people are able to use for free. And this is now what our biggest seller, you might say, is our audiobooks. That's the main thing that people sign up for our service. And we have over 100,000 titles. We basically offer everything that a public library would offer, fiction through nonfiction, all ages. And in addition to the audio portion, anyone who still has some vision and is comfortable with large print books, we offer large print books by mail. They're basically 16-point type, so that's another service we have. Braille books are still offered as well for Braille readers. That comes by mail too. All of this, I should point out, comes in the mail to the patron's home for free. Postage is paid. In addition to all of those, we offer audio described DVDs. Basically, these are feature films that have a special link on the DVD player where a narrator will describe to the patron the scenery and the action when the actors are not speaking.
Leading her out, he grabs a black vest from a console. In the light jet, Flynn looks up.
Come on, kiddo.
A figure bursts from the throne ship and sprouts orange wings.
Radical, man.
Clutching Cora in his arms, Sam descends to the flight deck. They land hard and roll apart.
Made it.
So someone who's unable to see the screen, they'll be able to follow along with the movie when the actors aren't speaking. Someone is telling them what's going on. So that's another service that we provide too. In addition to all of these, behind us here we have some handheld magnifiers that people can check out and use. They can go out just like a book, check out for a couple of weeks, and people can see whether or not these type of handheld magnifiers work for them at home in their own setting. We have something too called a video magnifier, which is like a handheld magnifier, but you can bump up the magnification level to what you need in order to see the object. And then we have programming as well. So our programs include book discussion group by phone, so no one has to leave their home. They can participate over the phone. We have a vision network group by phone, and our vision group consists of patrons with low vision who talk about topical issues and challenges that they face and share with one another their experiences. We have the same vision network group in-house in the summer, and then we also offer computer tutoring classes, which we'll also talk about a little later on in our program too.
So, Ann, but what about people who just want the book now and they don't want to wait for a cartridge? Is there another option?
Yes, as a matter of fact, there's something really cool that the Library for the Blind offers, and it's called BARD, Braille Audio and Reading Download Service, which is on its own website. And people who are tech savvy can download their own books at home, listen to them on our player, or if they have Apple products like an iPhone, iPod, or iPad, or Android, they'll also be able to listen to those books on their own devices as well with the free app. So that's really exciting news, because then people can do this without even interacting with the library. They can do this 24/7.
And in addition to books, are there also periodicals, magazines available?
Yes, audio magazines. There's a supply of those too that we can offer, so people can stay current and read about current articles in different magazines too. And that's on audio to the house mailed.
And how long typically does it take? So a bestseller comes out. How long does it take for our Library for the Blind and Physically Handicapped patrons to be able to get that?
It's not instantaneous, I will say that. The library, we are under the auspices of the Library of Congress in Washington, D.C. What they are trying to do to make it faster is contracting with more publishers to bring out the bestsellers quicker. Usually they're about a couple months behind, and other books take a little longer because they actually hire professional narrators to narrate these books. So sometimes we're talking more like a 6-month period, possibly a little longer, but the quality of the narration is really well done, and people are very happy with the service.
And I know the other great benefit that we get is unlimited copies.
Yes.
So we can have a copy for every single one of our Library for the Blind users as soon as that becomes available through BARD, right?
Absolutely. We have something called download on demand. So if a particular audiobook is not on the shelf, so to speak, we can take a blank cartridge, download it to the cartridge, and send it out the next day.
Wonderful. So, Barb, why don't you give us a little demonstration of what this actually is going to look like? What things are people going to get in the mail?
Okay. And so a majority of our patrons opt for the audio books, and so this is what they'll receive in the mail. It's a container, and inside the container you will find a cartridge, which actually contains a single book. So when you get this in the mail, just simply open it, take the cartridge out, and the machine you'll also get sent to your home, and it is free. So it's as simple as turning the power button on, popping the cartridge in the machine.
And I assume it can only go in one way?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Correct. And then the book will start talking to you. And when you're done reading for the day, you just simply press the play button, which also serves as a stop button. Turn the power off. And then when you want to continue reading the book the next day, you just simply turn the power or press the power button to turn the machine on. press the play button and the machine will start where you left off. So when you're done listening to the entire book, just simply remove the cartridge from the machine, put it back in the container, close it, and as you can see, there's a mailing label. Flip it over so it shows Macomb Library for the Blind address. And like a piece of mail, pop it in your mailbox, and the postal carrier will deliver it to our library. So for those who can still read large print, we offer the large print book by mail service. So this is an example of a large print book that we have here in the library. It will come in a purple canvas bag. So you just simply, when you get it in the mail, open it up, the book will be there. You read it, and when you're finished reading the book, just simply pop it back in the purple canvas bag. And similar to the cartridge, you simply flip over the mailing card so it shows Macomb Library for the Blind address, and put it in the mailbox, and again the postal carrier will pick it up and return it to our library, and then we'll go ahead and send another book to you. And the third option is Bard Mobile, which is an app, and so it is compatible with Apple iOS devices as well as Android and a Kindle. And so what I have right here is an iPad. Here is Bard Mobile, which you can download for free, and when you are ready to listen to your books, you just simply open up the app and then go to Now Reading section of the app. And then as you can see, the format is similar to an actual player that we send to you. And the functions are similar as well. So I'm going to press the green play button, and the book should start reading.
One day, soon after the king disappeared, the woodsman found a frail young woman wandering along the forest's edge.
And I'm going to press the green button again to stop.
She had in the world.
App allows you to search the catalog as well as download books to your device. And it is available for you. You have more control over what books you select and listen to. And again, you don't have to return anything that you download. It is for you to keep until you're ready to delete it from your device.
Great. Thanks so much, Barb.
You're welcome, Mary.
So, Anne, I know that a lot of people think about Braille when they think about materials for the blind. Do you know what percentage of our patrons are able to read Braille?
It's very small percentage. I would say it's less than 10%.
But for those that want it, and that's the way they read, it's extremely important.
Absolutely. That's everything to them. And in this case, we all offer some equipment that people can take advantage of for free in order to Braille out items that they might like to have. And for example, we send out a newsletter about 3 times a year, and there are some of our patrons who like to get this in Braille. And so we're able to Braille the newsletter with a Braille embosser. This is called a Romeo 60 Braille embosser. And this newsletter here, which is about 8 pages, comes out to single-sided Braille in this fashion, and we just simply upload the print file from the newsletter, and the Braille embosser will Braille it out for us so that people who need Braille can read our newsletter in this way. But what we can also do is if patrons would like to come in and Braille something of their own, they're welcome to come into the library, make an appointment, and have them come in, and they can use the Braille embosser too. The way it works, you can type in what you need to have Brailled. The software will translate it into Braille, and then the embosser will print it out in Braille too.
And we might want to also mention that this was a gift in memory of Stephen Spalacci.
Yes, a dear patron of ours who had passed away recently, and so donations were made in his honor, and we were able to purchase the Braille embosser.
And I think we have one other item here on the table.
Yes, it's something called a Braille label maker, and we were very fortunate that Larry actually gave us the idea to get purchase one of these too. It's a Braille label maker, and for anyone, again, who reads Braille, if they would like to label something at home, the Braille label maker produces a label that in Braille, and one can use a regular keyboard to type it in if they want to, and it produces the tape that can adhere to basically any surface, so people can label things around the house. They can also label different articles, objects, files, and that's something too that we offer here at the library that people take advantage of. And as a matter of fact, most recently, someone came in to make labels for greeting cards that patrons sent to her Braille students, and they were really surprised to see the Braille in the greeting card that she was able to fashion and put into the card. So it's another good use of technology that allows our Braille readers to do more than, more with our library services.
That's marvelous, and I think it's just part of our statement as to how important accessibility and equity of access is to library materials. So thank you, Anne.
You're welcome.
All right, well, since we've been talking a lot about traditional library for the blind services, certainly technology has evolved over the years, and there are many more options available to people. And we're so fortunate to have Sharon Latosky to help us bring technology to our library patrons and let them become aware of the different technology options available, and then get training, and also in a very comfortable environment, because many people are intimidated. I think a lot of people deal with vision issues when they become older, with macular degeneration and a variety of other things. So having that personalized experience to kind of introduce them to the amazing resources available, I think is one of the really important and very little known things that we do here. So Sharon, if you could give us an overview of the different pieces of equipment, I'd love to have people learn more about what they can enjoy here.
And this is really basic assistive technology, okay? On the computer level and the iPhone level, that sort of thing. But there's all sorts of adaptive technologies that we actually talk to people about by, first of all, asking what they need. What are they missing now that they've lost their vision? What's going on? What are they not able to do anymore? And that's where we start. And then we say, okay, well, you're having trouble reading now, so here's how you're going to get around that. So it's a means of helping people adapt and adjust, which is great. So because we're not reading anymore, and I'm a patron too, so because we're not reading visually anymore, everything becomes audio. So everything has to speak, and it has to speak clearly, and you have to know what it's saying. And so it does take a little bit of a transition to go from looking at something visually and then just totally listening to it, all on its own. So this is an example of a computer, and these are all large computer monitors. I think this is like a 27-inch. And it has what we call the JAWS program, which is screen reading program, that will speak everything that's on the screen. So when we're using a computer, we don't use a mouse at all. So everything is driven by key commands.
Page down, zoom text 11.
So it's describing, it's reading to me everything that's on here. And this one has the more of a robotic voice, which people aren't really happy with usually. But it's a start, and it's allows people then to use the computer just the way anybody else does in terms of emails and research and whatever you want to do on a computer. So this guy is a CCTV, which means you put the material down here and there's a camera in here that projects everything onto the screen here. So for people who still have a little bit of vision, they can use this for reading, not very long-term reading, but it does magnify things so that, if you want to still use printed materials, you can still access them, and you can change, on all these devices, you can change coloring, you can change contrast. whatever works for you, because everybody's different. Everybody's low vision is different. When you can't see and you have no vision at all, it's pretty standard, but low vision can mean anything. This guy has a larger keyboard, but this doesn't have a screen reader on it. It does have a screen magnification on it, and you do use a mouse with it. But what it does is it'll magnify the screen, but now you're going to move the whole screen to read what you want to read. This does have some voice capability, and I think if you're just using a little bit of magnification, it works really well. But after a certain point, the magnification is too great, and then you have to go to the screen reading programs. This guy, I love, my iPhone, which I use for everything. iPhones, and one of the things that we do teach here, are the iOS devices. I'm turning the volume up a little bit.
Press home to open.
And so, same thing, it's got a screen reading program on it that's already part of the iOS device. It's already there. It doesn't cost you anything extra. You just turn it on, and it'll read everything that's on the screen.
2:52 p.m.
And using Siri, you can dictate your text, you can make phone calls, you can read your emails, you can go online, you can do your shopping, you can do your banking. All on your iPhone or Apple device.
So this is marvelous. I mean, to me, I can't imagine that somebody who's dealing with these challenges can come in here, work with you, and really regain a lot of their sense and feeling of independence. Is that
Absolutely.
what you'd say?
I'm thinking, for example, of we had a patron come in a little while ago who basically wanted to get an iPhone because she wanted to be able to use Uber for her transportation. And that's what we did. That's what we worked on. She was able then to go visit her mom who lived in another area, and just that's all she uses it for. And she loves it. And something as simple as that, she learned over a few months' time, and now she's getting around wherever she wants to go.
And I think that's the other really important thing about this service and everything we offer. We have some things in here that are extremely simple. They're basically a giant magnifier, and then you can work your way up to something that's really quite sophisticated. And so, to me, you can adapt our equipment to what your needs are, as you said, and try things out and find out what works and what doesn't work. And some things, I'm assuming, are just people get frustrated. It's just too complicated, and then that's when you might say, well, okay, you know, the screen over here that you're magnifying is like a football field now, so maybe it is time to concede or not concede, but try a different option and see what might work more efficiently for
And there's
you.
always another option. There's always another option.
That's the great thing, too, is the message of hope and ideas and being creative and practical. So thanks so much for the overview of the equipment.
You're
and
welcome.
again, for all the training that you do.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for joining us today on our tour of the Macomb Library for the Blind and Physically Handicapped. If you know anybody in Macomb County, yourself, a friend, family member, or neighbor who's having vision challenges, by all means suggest that they call our library or stop by and visit us at the main library. We have so many things to offer. It's all free of charge, and it can really help somebody regain their sense of independence, whether it's through reading or using technology. Thanks so much for joining us today.